Hello everyone, Dr. Suneel Dhand, internal medicine physician. Welcome to another video. Today is May the 11th and it is a historic day in the United States. It is officially the end of the federal pandemic emergency response, May the 11th, 2023, after all this time. Now, of course, for most people, life has been completely back to normal for some time. But this officially ending now will mean that the last remaining parts of the emergency response, whether they pertain to certain mandates, whether they pertain to other rules like face coverings in healthcare facilities, will go. I know lots of the country is past this, but many parts of the United States, including the Northeast, still have a lot of these emergency measures in place. So seeing as this is a historic day, let's think back to all of the things that have happened over the last 3 and something years. 3 years and 2 months or so since we were first told that it was 2 weeks to flatten the curve. You all remember that. 2 weeks to flatten the curve. And the crazy thing is, when all of these measures were first introduced in March, April 2020, the reality was that this virus had already been spreading like wildfire for a few months. The cat was already out of the bag by the time we introduced all of these measures. Who would have guessed at that time that all of the subsequent things that happened were going to happen? Who would have guessed it? Certainly I wouldn't have guessed that all of the restrictions and measures went to the extent that they did. None of us who lived through these events, which is basically all of us, everybody listening, will ever forget the last 3 years and 2 months and all of the things that happened, supposedly in the name of taking care of people's health and following the science. So seeing as this is a historic day, the end of the pandemic emergency in the United States, let's remind ourselves about all of the things that happened. From the unnecessarily harsh and cruel restrictions on individuals' lives, the closures, the school closures, who can forget that? Devastating the lives of our youngest citizens for an unnecessarily prolonged time. Businesses shut down. Many of those businesses never came back. Then we had all of the medical and even psychiatric problems that resulted from lockdowns and restrictions. Explosion in mental health disorders, other issues including addiction and physical diseases as well, like heart disease and type 2 diabetes, as a result of people changing their lifestyles. All of those things happened. Then, of course, we had medical coercion to take a medical therapeutic. Millions of people affected. Many of them faced the threat of job losses. Medical coercion is unethical. What about the mass censorship via big tech, supposedly in a free country? People dying alone in hospital. What a crime against humanity. What a harsh, cruel, terrible thing to happen. Totally unnecessary. That could have easily been worked out. Nobody should have died alone during that time. Look at the craziness, all of these things that happened in the last 3 years and 2 months. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we should have done nothing whatsoever. I'm actually a physician who has worked at the front lines the whole time. I've seen probably thousands of patients by now with the virus. I've worked in different hospitals in different states. What I am saying is that when we needed calm, rational leadership, we did not have any. We responded in an excessive, panicky, emotional way, led by social media, led by the 24/7 news cycle, when what we did need was calm, stoic leadership, responding to things rationally, not emotionally, and telling people the truth, not working to instill panic in everybody. We had the wrong leaders in charge and the wrong medical people leading our response. But let's get to what this was really all about, because as with any major situation in human history, you will always have the bad actors and the profiteers who roll in and take advantage of the situation. Because the last 3 years was probably the biggest power and money grab in the whole of human history. Billions and billions of dollars have been made. So many people have enriched themselves, from big corporations, big technology, medical device companies, and of course, big pharmaceutical companies who have probably made the most profitable product in the whole of medical history. right there in the last 3 years. Do you think any single one of them who has made so much money wakes up wishing that this pandemic never happened, with all of their second homes bought in exotic locations? Come on, what do you think the last 3 years was really all about for these people? Why would they have wanted it any other way? And they had a tremendous motivation to keep the pandemic going on for as long as possible. So let's now have a 5-second moment of silence to remember the craziness of the last few years and all of the quote-unquote collateral damage. Because yes, we must remember to never allow this to happen again. Never again will we allow ourselves to collectively give so much power to people with an authoritarian streak, whether that be big government, public health officials, and yes, a lot of doctors and scientists who quite frankly get a kick out of the power and control that they were given. They cannot be allowed again to control a pandemic response. No way. Preferably get these people out of responding to anything, because they clearly have no respect for liberty, for understanding individual rights, and for really taking into account the whole picture. They also are very corrupted, many of them. I leave you with this quote from none other than Benjamin Franklin. "Those who would sacrifice their essential liberty for temporary security deserve neither liberty or security." There you go, a very powerful quote from Benjamin Franklin, one of our founding fathers, a great man. In fact, if you're looking for a book of very wise quotes, look no further than quotes from Benjamin Franklin. They don't make them like that anymore. People like our founding fathers, other great people of history, our modern day cowardly leaders could not hold a candle up to these people. In fact, it's because of these great people of old, including our founding fathers, that we have a constitution and we have protections that our modern day leaders would have gladly taken away from us. But thankfully, we still have the constitution in place. So let us again say never again on this historic day, May the 11th, 2023. The federal response to the pandemic, the emergency response, is officially over. Thanks everyone for listening. Let me know your thoughts down below. Check out my online course and my Uncensored platform. Those links are also down below. Remember, huge swathes of the healthcare and medical establishment are completely and utterly corrupted. And one of the best things you can do for your health and your family's health is make the right decisions every day. Empower yourself to stay as healthy as possible, so you have the best possible chance of staying away from mainstream medicine and doctors. Thanks everyone again. Hit the like button if you like this video and the bell button for more similar videos in the future. We will talk again very soon.